Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I always get this big old cheese when you when you're on here. Actually, with a lot of people that I've did these videos with, I guess I'm selecting them pretty well because it makes me happy. I'm Elishama Puller, and this is Liat Nadler. Um, I'm not sure which video I'm gonna upload first, so we're gonna have to delete this part. And we just introduce yourself. If you can introduce yourself again.
Um, okay, I guess I'll introduce myself maybe differently. I don't remember how I introduced myself last time.
Perfect.
Basically, professionally wise, I'm a licensed dietitian. I'm a board certified nutrition specialist, and I'm also a licensed psilocybin facilitator here in Portland, Oregon. I'm a food relationship coach. And beside that, I also, what, edit that part right
Okay.
here. I help women 35 and older to basically lose the weight, get rid of the belly fat, increase their energy, eliminate perimenopausal and menopause symptoms. So they have better mood, um, better life, no gut issues. And the most important thing, I help them to step into their sexy, badass selves.
That was my next question. Does it make sex better? Do they sleep better?
It, it's not just sex. Like, imagine walking in the room and everybody wants to know who you are.
Yeah,
That's what I help my clients do
I can see that.
on that, on that sexy badass.
I can see that because I mean, of course, your body looking better makes you feel better, but having a coach that
It's not,
automatically does that and lives that.
it's not about having a nice body because nice body can come in any size.
Yeah.
Of course, like each person has their own goals and whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not determining people like how they should look,
Yeah.
but I help them, one, reach their goals.
Yeah.
Second, feel amazing and confidence no matter what. Because I know a lot of skinny women who are
I
still
don't
very,
feel like that.
who are not confident. They
Hmm.
will walk into the room and you'll see like their posture,
Yeah.
they, like they are trying to hide. No, walk into the room. I want everybody
And
like,
capture it.
who, who is she?
Right. That's what I was saying is I could see that because on top of the diet and all of that, you're a confident woman. Whenever you walk in the room, I know you're in the room, you know?
Am I? Am I confident?
I mean, that's what you show, at least.
Yeah, really.
That's
Yeah.
what you show. But I mean, some of the most confident people on the inside don't be that confident. So that's a maybe another topic to dive into.
Again, can you repeat that? Some of the most.
The people that look the most confident are not always as confident on the inside.
I think there is a difference between being confident and being the lack of better word because I know I'm sure that I have a better word for it
Yeah.
somewhere, but between being confident and being a jerk.
Okay.
And and
I could give you an example when you're done.
so I'm thinking people can be confident,
Yeah.
but still be very humble.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, or those that are full of themselves and
Yeah,
cocky kind of.
just being cocky and being full of yourself. And sometimes I do that. And with
We all
people
do.
that I feel confident, comfortable, and they know it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, like you can still be nice and humble and be very confident. Like, so when people say something that might sound as mean or um I'll give you an example with my clients. So they will go to social events and they will even be anxious about starting a conversation about, hey, I'm doing this transition, I'm in this process. So I want to cut back with maybe drinks or maybe sugars, whatever it is, right? Like each
Mhm.
person is whatever they need to do. And they are afraid to have this conversation. They are afraid of having this conflict conversation. Oh, why? You don't need that. Oh, I did
Yeah,
intermittent fasting or whatever. You should do that. And they don't know how to react.
yeah.
So being confident is being able to have this kind of conversation, having the boundaries around it, not allowing people, for example, to shove drinks into your hands because that happens as well.
Oh yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
people are lack of boundaries. They will hear that you're trying to do a little bit better, and they will try to drag you to where they are at.
Or where they
So,
think
oh
that
no,
you should.
one drink won't matter. Oh, let me buy you a drink here. You should let's raise a glass, or um, a plate of chips or fries or whatever. Oh, you should just enjoy it. You only
You
live
have a cheat
once.
day.
Everything in moderation, and they don't know how to handle this.
Yeah,
So being confident is being really be able to like, hey, thank you so much,
yeah,
but I'm doing me, and you can do you.
yeah. It took me a minute to get to that. But I was talking more of so for example, when I used to go to company parties and
Oh.
I'm very friendly, but I'm also in everybody's eyes, I'm the life of the party. And
Mhm.
so everybody is like, Ellie, 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 or if I give like, one person a hug, I feel like I have to give somebody else a hug, well, not anymore, but back then I felt like I couldn't do one person more than I did for another. But more than that, for the first hour, I felt like it was like I was putting on a show. And really on the inside, I mean, on one hand, I was displaying confidence, but on the inside, I wasn't really that comfortable or that happy with, 100%. You get what I mean? With what I was doing. And I had to wait. I felt like I had to put on that show until everybody got drunk enough to leave me alone. But a lot of people, even my close friends, didn't know that sometimes me talking a lot like I'm confident was really me just compensating for the lack of confidence.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about like sometimes the person who looks the most confident isn't always that
The,
confident.
yeah, the loudest person is not necessarily the most confident person.
Mm-hmm.
Being confident is being really okay with just being quiet and not engage in a conversation. Sometimes I will do that. Like I will, like just this morning I was in a networking event,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay sometimes to just stand and like watch the room. It's a very interesting thing, and be completely comfortable with that. Like I don't have to engage in conversation to feel confident. Like
Right. I think the more you at least for me, the more skilled I was at something, or okay, for example, right now in my mind,
Mhm.
I'm like, I know I'm great at business. I know I'm great at being a mom, I know I'm a good friend. So now I don't have nothing to prove, So when I get in a room, I don't feel like I have to brag about none of it. What is that? Those that say don't do, and those that do don't say, or something like that. But yeah, because I know my potential now. I don't feel the need to have to prove to nobody what that potential is or what my skills are. So it's changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Actually, it's funny because when I just started uh, my journey in business and everything, uh, I felt the urge and the need. Like when people ask me, like, oh yeah, I do this and that,
Mm.
I have the cringe thinking about the things that I used to say, thinking that it sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
And a few weeks back, like right at the beginning of this year, I met an old friend and her partner. And
Yeah.
I'm like, we were catching up. What are you doing? And like, where you want to go? What are your plans with her partner? Like, we were sitting and our partner said, oh, I'm going to be successful. Yeah, but I hear you, man. But what does it mean? What does
Right.
being successful mean to you? And he couldn't even tell me what that looks like. Oh, I'm going to make a lot of money. How much is a lot of money?
Yeah.
It was a very interesting. Now, it's not that, I'm being condescending or anything. I understand where
I know
it,
exactly what you're
because
saying.
I've been there. I've been there. But today I don't feel the need. Like when people ask me what you do, oh, I help women. Like I don't even engage in the conversation unless they really, really want to know. Because most people they ask,
And they
they
don't really
don't
want to know.
really like they don't really want to know.
Not just that, but like I realized I don't always want to engage in conversation with just anybody. Now I got to talk to you for an hour about something that I don't even feel like not feel comfortable, but I just don't feel like it.
That's right. That's true as well. And
Mm,
I'm thinking like even with the type of work that I do,
yeah,
when I start talking about the fact that I'm a dietitian or whatever it is, and it immediately puts people in a
on
defensive
guard.
kind of mode. Oh yeah, I'm trying to change my diet. I need to do that. I need to, they put them in a really defense position, and I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Right? you're, you're
It's
not
like,
paying me either.
I mean, it's not like I'm walking in the room and like judging everyone's plates. That's not how it goes. That's not, no.
Yeah.
Y-
But
Um,
I understand you. I was depressed. I didn't even know that I was depressed, but I just know I was sad from like the age of 25 to 27. And I mean, on the outside, you couldn't tell I was depressed, but on the inside, I was. And it was because I kept feeling like, I keep saying I want to make a lot of money and I want to do this and I want to do that, but I feel like I'm still in the same place. And finally, my boss, I was talking to him and he said, Ellie, what does success look like for you? What does it mean to be successful? Because if you keep saying you want a lot of money, like, what's a lot of money? And that changed my life because I realized like I had all these dreams. Like I want to build these little mini houses and I want to move to Africa and I want to do this. But I never put a dollar amount on it. I never put a dollar amount on it. I never put a timeline on it. I didn't do sketch out like how I get from here to there. I didn't even sketch out where I was right now,
mhm.
at that moment. Like, and I felt like I was drowning in debt. I was making so much money for a person my age, but I was in debt. And it wasn't until he said that to me that it snapped, like it just all the like lights came on. I was like, oh wow, okay. I gotta start, like really planning. If I'm planning all of this at work for somebody else, I can plan this for my own life. So I yeah.
Can you hold on a second? I want to close the door here
Yep.
because,
I'm a pause.
have you ever read the book Happy Pocket Full of Money?
No.
Oh,
Is
you
it
should.
long? Is it long or short?
It's not very long, and I think there is like even a free version, audio version on YouTube if you
Yeah.
want. Uh,
You said free
there
pocket
was
money?
Happy Pocket Full of Money.
Okay.
And the one thing that stood up the most for me, because he's talking about how to reach your goals, not necessarily about money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
say you want to be, I don't know, a teacher that influences students' life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. There is a way to reach those goals.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you want to be on stage with the most successful band alive right now. There is a way from where you're at to how you're gonna get there,
Yeah.
right? Not just about money. I just want to make that
Yeah.
clear. But what stood up the most, he said, like, make sure that you create this long ass list of goals that you have, because the more goals you have, the more you accomplish. But then he talked about being specific. So he said, imagine that one of your goals is to have a nice car. What are the chances that the universe will send you a nice car? What is a nice car for you?
Right.
What is it? What color is that car? What model? What brand? What year?
Right. Wow.
What type of engine? Is it electronic or is it a truck? What is a nice car for you?
I wish I would
You
have read that book.
you can read it,
No, I
but
mean,
it was
before.
like that's so true. Like, why would I ever have a nice car if I don't even know what the nice car means?
Right.
Like when and then it took me back to a conversation I had with one of my parents' friends. They had they had a couple that they were really close friends with,
Mhm.
and about twice a month, the whole family, they had a daughter my age and another daughter my sister's age. So every Saturday, like every other Saturday, they used to meet together and, eat and barbecue, whatever. And one time we had a conversation, um, and I was a pretty young teenager, maybe 15, 16.
Mhm.
And I made a statement, I don't even remember why, that I'm not going to get married until I have a house and a car.
Yeah.
And he got so pissed off. What are you talking about? What kind of fantasies this generation has? Who's going to have a car? Who's going to have a house? Like
Yeah.
when we all got married, like my parents' generation, like we didn't have anything and we got married anyway. I said, well, that was you. When I'm going to get married, it's after I have a car and I have a house.
Yeah.
And guess what happened?
What happened?
I got married and I have a car that I fully paid for.
Yeah.
And we had a house, which like my partner, like my husband now, it
Yeah.
was his house, but it doesn't matter. Like
You get it.
we had a house and we had the car.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was very specific. It didn't matter like what type. I didn't say nice car or anything. All I could care about is I have the ability to be mobile, which wasn't very popular back then, right?
Hmm.
And so somewhere to live.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very specific these days about what I want. When I was growing up, talking things into existence and being specific, I knew I was coming to America. I'm going to America when I make 18. I'm getting out of here. Israel, too little for me. I mean, my reasons were very extreme because of how I grew up. But the point was, I wanted to have a career and I wanted to come to America and I wanted to have limitless opportunities. And I didn't know exactly what my career was going to be because, I feel like I'm a jack of many trades. And so it was hard to really be like, oh, I'm going to be an engineer. Oh, I'm going to be a teacher, this and that. So I just figured, I said, whatever one pays me the most money the fastest. But I'm getting out of here. Luckily, I did end up in engineering, though. It started in Israel. But the biggest thing was I was coming to the States. I was gonna have a career, and I was gonna be independent. That I refuse to have my life waiting around on somebody else. That whole car thing. I tell people all the time. I mean, to those who get on public transportation, kudos to you. But in my mind, in my life, if I don't have transportation, I am not independent and I am not free.
That's how I felt because back then we used to live in like an old town that they only had like every 2 hours they had one bus going to one city. It wasn't even multiple destinations.
Mm-hmm. I feel
So
you.
it took forever to get anywhere.
You got to get on like 10 buses.
And I'm like, I am not doing that. Like, I need to have my own car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and being independent is a very, very important goal. Like, because it said I'm going to have a career, whatever will make me the fastest and biggest amount of money. I would be careful with that. But
It's
once you
changed.
no, once you say I need to be independent, that's fine. Why? Because doing fast and a lot of money can also, like, you can go and be a drug dealer, but then you're dependent on somebody else.
That was, listen, that was part of my life too.
No, not recommending. I'm just saying
I'm not either.
there are some sketchy opportunities out there.
Listen, my mind deliberate, my mind definitely thought of all of those. I mean, I don't know if I told you, but when I came to the States, my uncle kicked us out after 2 weeks, and we were homeless, and we were hanging out.
Who are we?
Me and three of my sisters.
Oh, you came with your sisters here?
Yeah, and I was the oldest. So I was 19 when we came out here. Then the twins were both 18. And then we had a 16-year-old sister. And when
Mhm.
my uncle kicked us out, luckily, like the day before, we met this dude at the mall, him and his friend. Kind of find out they were drug dealers, but they saved us. You know what I mean? It was a lot of other shit that happened. They weren't the greatest, but for that specific moment, shit, we was he was paying somebody crack for us to live at their house.
Wow.
Like yeah, so and then drug dealers hang out with drug dealers, right? So I call myself liking one of the friends who was a drug dealer. My dumb ass. Let me tell you, we were so dumb. We, I'm out here. This guy is selling drugs, and I'm with him. And I was the things that I accepted back there. I forgot about that life for a minute. But I remember telling my friend Lovely, I'm like, "Do you remember back in the day?" So she's from Detroit. She's one of my best friends. I was like, "You remember back in the day where the you're driving and then the cops start following you and you're speeding and then you throw the drugs out the window. So if they catch you, you only get a speeding ticket. You don't get a drug charge on top of that." And she looked at me, she said, "What the fuck? No." I was like, "What you mean no?" She said, why would that be my life? I said, "You say you from Detroit. And your poetry, like it comes off as like you had a really, really tough life." And then my mind, tough equated to like that street life. She said, "Hell no, we weren't dumb enough to do that shit." She said, "We knew who to hang out with, who not." And then she looked at me, she said, "Did you?"
Oh no. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
was like,
I just saw it in a
"Oh,
movie.
yeah, I can't believe that was my life." Oh man, from there to here, right?
Mhm.
But you're right about trying to make money the fastest. I remember the thing that stopped me from doing a lot of stuff is I didn't want to embarrass my parents.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a that's a big one. Not necessarily my the reason that I chose to do some of the things. I didn't care much about what my parents think. If I cared,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't get anywhere in my life.
Yeah.
Anywhere. But I never found myself in a situation even remotely close to what you just described. Not even the speeding ticket. No.
I swear, like, I feel like when you're homeless, you are just in survival mode and you're
Oh,
just trying to think, what can I do to not be in this mode, to have a roof over my head, to feel safe. And then our parents, I wanted to send money back to them. I mean, my parents were alive, they were okay, they were safe, but my mind has always been like, I want to do great for them too, to the point where I remember we met a family member and she was doing the live video sex stuff. And I ain't do it. But me and my sister was sitting there and I'm looking at her and I'm like, damn, we could do way better than that. In my head, I was like, I'm like, I could dance way better than that. I'm looking at these strippers and I'm like, and I'm paying them, like people paying them a lot of dollars. So I'm like, damn, what's really stopping us from doing? If we really want money, we could do it that way. But I mean, it was only a week long of a conversation. It never happened. But that survival mode definitely puts your mind in places that you never think that you would be. Yeah. Luckily, we didn't have to do that. But the biggest thing was like, I'm like, I don't want nobody randomly clicking on my videos and the whole community I came from see it. And then everybody talk, when you come from them small communities, one person knows something, everybody knows something.
mhm.
Yeah. So that's what stopped me. Thank
Good, good.
you.
At least that.
Right. But yeah,
Oh, wow.
I was actually the conversation. I like these videos because I never know what we're gonna talk about. I have a thought in my head, but I say we're just gonna flow, have it go. So this is nice because it definitely was not the topic that I wanted to ask you about, but it leaves us for another video, for another time.
What
Um,
did you want to talk about?
I wanted to ask you how you got to America and go from there. Like, what brought you to America, and also, what were you doing in Israel before you came to America?
Um, so professionally, I used to be an industrial engineer. So I learned engineering before we moved here. I never even visited the US before we moved here. It wasn't something on my radar. It wasn't a dream, none of that. Back then, the kids were really, really young. When we moved, they were like 4 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I was mostly like being busy of being mom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I owned a Waldorf daycare for kids. So my kids went to that um, school or daycare.
In
Through,
Oregon?
no, in Israel.
Oh, okay.
Adela.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Uh,
to envision you be able to
I'm
take
not,
your
I
kid.
wasn't a teacher. No, no, no.
Oh, see, okay, that makes sense. You just
I'm not.
owned it and ran it.
I owned it and I hired the teachers and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything was organic, vegetarian.
What? That's so
Uh,
amazing.
Yeah, the kids were like, we even had like a vegetable garden outside, so the kids grew some vegetables and then they picked them and they made, you know,
Oh, that
meal.
sounds like paradise that I wish I had my kid in. My
It
kids.
was very, very cute, very.
Yeah,
But I don't know how much you know Israelis.
I know.
It was like dealing with the parents was really, really like tough. Like at one point, like I said, I don't care. I'm going to like homeschool my kids. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to deal with those parents anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, they were worse than like
Yeah.
at 2 years old. Like anyway, that was like a sidetracked. So at one point, I was kind of like walking around and being a little bit frustrated with
Yeah.
having to deal with all these great ungrateful parents. And I walk with a friend. Back then, I studied Waldorf education in Jerusalem. And
Mm.
then this feeling kind of like took off. I don't know. Do you ever get like a very strong gut feeling, but you feel it with the entire body? Like,
Everything. Yep.
oh, kind of moment.
Right.
And I walk. It was afternoon with a friend. And I feel like suddenly I got this realization that I need to be in a very, very far away place.
Yeah.
And I tell my friend, she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I don't know, but I feel like I need to be in a very far away place." She said, "Where is it?" I just said, "I don't know, the moon. I don't know. I need to be away from here." Anyway, that was Thursday. On Sunday afternoon, Eladis called me on his way back home and said, "Hey, my boss's boss came
Yeah.
over to my cubicle today and they need us to move to Portland, Oregon."
Wow.
I was like,
Perfect.
did I make this happen or did I feel it because it was supposed to happen, or is it all like one huge coincidence? I don't know. But I didn't say anything because it sounded like, okay, that's very cool.
I've been
Uh,
having a lot of that lately.
yeah, like you know that something is coming, right?
Yeah.
So 2 weeks passes by. We don't even talk about it because I said, I'm not going to bring it up. So the universe doesn't feel like I'm like even
Yeah.
remotely wanting, you
Yeah.
know, it needs to happen. It will happen. Like let it flow. 2 weeks goes by and this guy comes over. Okay, did you guys think about it? And Elad says, no, we haven't. Like, what, give me some details. Like, what's going on? Anyway, they flew us in here for about a week. It was the first time in the US. It was the end of January. If all the frost outside,
I forgot about
all,
January
everything
weather.
is the grayest gray I've ever seen. It's like 7 layers of clouds. You don't even know where the sun is at. Is it like a day? Is it daylight or is it still night? Like that kind of weather. But I don't know, something about it felt right. And I said, you know what? It's not my weather. Like for me, Caribbean weather is way, way nicer
Right.
when it's rainy. Um, but it feels good. It feels like this is where I'm supposed this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's going to be a good experience for like, let's say 18 months, 2 years. The kids will pick up some English. Um, and so we did it and we ended up staying.
One second. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Um, okay, so you're in the States, you get to Portland, it's all great. Um, what did you do when you first came here? Was it just your husband working or
Yeah, I wasn't able to legally work back then. So I was a stay-at-home mom. I was taking care of business, settling down, finding us a place to live,
which is a lot of work in
and
itself?
getting familiar, play dates,
How did
getting to
you
know
feel
the
about that?
I loved every moment. Like seriously, my life was instantly upgraded the moment we moved here. I
Yeah.
finally had a social life I didn't have before. Before, the social life that I had was going every afternoon to the playground and meeting with like other moms while the kids are playing. That's not a social life as far as you know me. That's not how I consider social life. I mean, that's fine for the kids to, to get some energy going out. Uh, but I didn't have much social life. Like on
Mhm.
the weekends, you go and see the family, and then like so moving here. immediately like found other Israelis. We went out for drinks, for dinners. We had people coming over. We like people invited us,
Hmm.
going out for hikes, for picnics, all the lakes. The scenery here is amazing. So I felt like my life is like 100 times better in that
Yeah.
sense. And then when I got the permit to work,
Hmm.
I started to look for a job. And obviously, as an engineer, I started to look for things like Intel and like all these kind of companies around here. And then one person told me, Liat, you shouldn't go and look for an engineering job. You're a nutritionist. Do something about it. I wasn't a nutritionist. I was very enthusiastic about nutrition
Yeah.
and diet, but how dare she? How do you know how long it takes to become an engineer? Do you know how much effort? How dare she? So after 2 weeks, I was like, why shouldn't I become a nutritionist? Like, that's a real passion of mine. And I just signed up I applied for a master degree.
Wow.
And the rest is history. Here we are.
Wow. That's a nice story. I didn't know what to expect because my okay, in my head, so when I was an engineer too, I did electronics engineering. And but before that, before I moved to Oregon and everything, I went through that harsh life in Washington. But my life always steadily climbed, you know. But the people who I was in Washington with, it felt like they just stayed in the same place the whole time. There's only one other person who I know was like constantly moving. She was in nursing, but it felt like they stayed in the same place the whole time. And so I always wondered, like, you see a lot of foreigners who come here, and we are not everybody, okay? I can't conclude everybody into this, but it's almost like we have a whole different drive, a whole different success level, or like you're steadily climbing. That hunger is always there, and we're always trying to make life better. And it just, I was curious, like, I'm gonna just say it, and this might sound not that great, but what what makes the difference between us and them? Because in my head, I'm like, you've been here this long, you have all the same opportunities as me. Why are you still here? You know?
I've read not read, I actually listened to, I saw a reel on Facebook a couple of days ago. It was in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy there that was talking about King David and King Solomon,
Mm-hmm.
a different, like, what's the mutual thing for both of them? They
Yeah.
both wrote books, right?
Mm-hmm.
One wrote Tehillim. I don't know how to say it in English.
Psalms,
I don't
Taylor,
know.
it is.
Tehillim, yeah.
Yeah.
And Solomon wrote Kohelet.
I don't know what Kohelet is English. I just know Psalms.
Um, they are both of them are part of the old
In the Old Testament.
yeah. Anyway, if you've ever read Tehillim, you see that there's a lot of, and this is what the guy said, right? It's not my original idea.
Okay.
Said you see that King David really appreciated everything outside, like the trees, the sky, like the nature, the beauty and he saw the beauty in everything.
Yeah.
King Solomon, Kohelet, there was a lot of boredom. Like everything is the same, nothing new under the sun is from that book.
Yeah.
And Chadash Tachat Hashemesh.
Oh, eh, it's crazy how when you say it in Hebrew, it just pops right into my head. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, a lot of boredom. Now,
Mm.
the biggest difference is that King David came from nothing. He was a sheep herder, right?
Yeah.
And it came from nothing. So it was very easy for him to appreciate everything that he
Everything.
grew into.
Hmm.
King Solomon had the kingdom from birth. He
Right.
had everything on his the palm of his hand from day one, from
Mm.
day zero. So he wasn't impressed much by anything.
Anything.
And you asked what's the difference between us immigrants who came from a much restricted environment
Yeah.
versus those who just grew up like that and like, okay, like I think us moving from restriction to like, oh, there are
Freedom.
so many opportunities. What do I, how do I take advantage of, not take advantage in the
I know.
negative way, but like, oh, I
I
can
do
grow in so
everything.
many areas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm happy I asked you that question because you just answered it so beautifully. How can anybody be insulted? Even though like this video is not to really care anyway. But I love how you answered that. I because I remember I was in Oregon the right before I moved, and I was talking to my neighbor, and there's so many homeless. There was just homeless population was growing more and more, and we kind of had a disagreement about it because they were talking about all this stuff we need to do for the homeless, and I was like, but I was homeless, I was homeless and I did something about it, and I kept doing something about it so I don't ever have to be homeless again. And, thankfully, like, I believe in God, I believe in the universe. Hopefully they still want me on that same path and they on the same path with me. But I also met so many when I was homeless. I met so many people who were okay with being in that position. So it's like, why would I work this hard to just give back to these people who don't care anyway? You know, if it was just kids and babies, okay. But I remember talking to a homeless person and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm homeless because I just don't want to live in my parents' house no more. Or they won't take my dog in, so we both had to be homeless." And then another guy, I remember girl, the people that I dated back in the day. I dated this one guy and he was so proud to tell me that he works with black black individuals who are incarcerated and they're trying to get back into society. Okay. And it goes back to us bragging about, what we do and everything. This is what he was bragging about. And I was like, oh wow, that's so impressive. You're doing for your community and everything, right?
Mhm.
But then a week into this, he tells me he only works less than 20 hours a week so that he can stay on food stamps. How can, like, like that baffled the hell out of me. Like, how are you proud? And he living in this nice apartment. So then it had me thinking, like, wow, okay, you capping your income on purpose so that you could live on government, help. And government help is good for people who need it. But like I was on government help. I was thankful for the help that I got, but my whole point was not to stay there because when you stay there, that means that they determine how much your money you're gonna make. On top of that, they can take it from you at any time. But you 20, what was I think he was like 30 something telling me I only work this many hours so I could stay on food stamp. That is like mind blowing to me. Like I couldn't date him no more after that conversation. But
I know people like that. In Israel, I know a few people who have their own business and they said, no, no, I'm like by the end of like uh, October, November, that, oh, I'm not going to see any more clients because I don't want to pay taxes. Like they want to stay like a small business, like very small business that doesn't pay the
yeah, the
tax.
fines, yeah, of a
You
big
know what
business.
I mean? Oh, Why not increasing and paying the
And
government
it
the
don't
tax?
even matter how much you make, how much you
Like,
got paid.
I don't mind pay. You know what? I wish one of the wishes for myself,
Yeah.
pay $1 million in taxes.
Because then you're making 100 million.
That's it.
I feel you. Like I just went into the bank today to try to choose a local bank that's good for my business, right? And the lady said, "Oh, this is the plan we have for small businesses because you don't pay for this and you don't pay for that and stuff." And I looked at, I said, "Well, what do you consider a small business?" And like, how is this helping me? Because I don't plan on being a small business for that long. It's only small because I'm starting over. But like I said, sometimes you get exactly what you pay for. And I don't want to look up and I'm getting all the shitty benefits because I didn't pay an extra $15, $10 a month to have the great benefits of having a huge business. So I had to change her whole way she was talking to me. I'm like, listen, lady, stop looking at me like a small business. That's not you know? But yeah, it
Yeah,
gets to me.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, sure. I remember we were talking about we were just in Dallas for my daughter's competition. Okay. First and foremost, my daughter says she going to the Olympics. How
Nice.
can my daughter, how can I help my daughter believe she should go to the Olympics and really support her if I don't believe that I could do the things that I want to do? You get what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm a share. Like what I know, I share. So I've been thinking, I'm like, I pay a shit ton of money on sports for my kids. And I'm trying to make generational wealth. And I teach my kids business on the level that they're on, right? So Lenore is a hustler. That girl wants to earn her money. And on top of that, I make them know the value of money. I'm no longer giving y'all free money for nothing. That's not happening no more. So I decided I was gonna open them a business. Um, that I was gonna open a business that had to do with them kind of like living the life of paying for their own sports. And so, and then that way, their sports is included. Yeah, it's a write off, their food is included, all of that. But that's not the only reason I was doing it. You know, my daughter, like one of the things we came up with, me and my husband, was we're going to put a booth in our store. We just got a new storefront, but it's huge. We're going to put a booth in there and I'm going to teach her how to make bandanas and stuff, like the simple, easy stuff, how to sew bandanas. And we already said we're gonna put up her big old picture of her doing gymnastics and everything. And she's gonna sell these things. She's gonna earn her money. And it's gonna start off as that, but who knows where it'll go. And I'm telling this lady, I'm like, if your kids have a business, you can write all of this off. Why she look at me and say, but they gotta make money. I looked at her, I said, you know, I can understand you really don't know me. Like to think that I'ma just open up a business for my kids not to make money. Down it, you know? So yeah,
Some people are just like small-minded
yeah,
and they try to limit you with their own.
right. Little window of a mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, okay. Again, you do you, I'll do me.
I did. I just smiled. I said, okay, like, and I just walked off. But it reminded me, like, one is not everybody needs to know or wants to know. So ain't no point in me investing that energy. And if somebody come to me and say, "How your daughter's doing this?" Because the whole point is for my daughters to teach other gymnastics how to do this or other sports kids how to do this by living it themselves.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Good luck. I can't wait to see what comes up.
I'm so excited. They're so excited about it. But
Is she is she actually going to classes and
oh, Lenore is a beast. She's been going to
Okay.
classes since she was 3,
Okay.
and it's her first year competing. And the first competition was like um maybe 3 weeks ago, and she came in like first place in vault, uh beam, in bars, and then second place in floor, and then first place in all around. This time around, she came in first place only in one thing, and like fourth and then fifth all around. But I took her swimming the day before.
Mhm.
But I told her, I mean, we talked about it. She's happy, she's a happy-go-lucky kid, so I'm thankful that it didn't like get to her or nothing. But I told her, I said, it's good we making these mistakes now, because if you want to go to the Olympics, we got to know how you should operate long term. And now we know you can't go swimming the day before and spend a whole day at the swim pool and then think you're gonna sit here and you know be your whole 100% the next day. So yeah,
Mm.
she everybody was like, "Oh, Simone Biles right there." She's like, "No, I'm Lenore. We're gonna do my own thing." But yeah, she's good.
Mm. Well, what Olympics is she planning to participate in?
Well, she's 9 now, and it's every 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she'll be 14 the next one. So if she kick ass now, she might be able to do it when
Well, I
she's,
mean, if she wants to participate in the Olympics,
you
she
know what?
needs to be a kid, she needs to do it now.
So that's why I mean we've been having those conversations, but I want her to make her own decisions and like for me to guide her. I don't want to push her so much that she don't like it no more.
Well, being in the Olympics is the kind of a job.
Right.
Like it's like 8, 10 hours day of practice. She's not going to like it.
I think she is. I think compared to a lot of other people,
So
she
why do you care about pushing her?
you know what? Maybe I needed this conversation. Thank you. We going to class today. I'm gonna have to talk to her teachers.
Yeah, everybody needs to be on the same page and do whatever it takes for her to participate in the next Olympic Games.
I was talking to my husband. I said, I'm going to have to put a mat, bars, and beam in this store in the back where she could practice all the time and not feel restricted. So, yeah, we definitely are invested. So now I need to make sure her teachers are on the same page too.
Yeah.
Because they've been the people, I ain't gonna say they've been slowing her down, but they want to make sure that she get her technique down really good so that she don't get scored low for technique, even though she knew all the tricks and stuff. But now that her technique is really good, it's time for them to like, move a little bit too.
Yeah, good.
But
Good luck. That's
thank you.
exciting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Liat, thank you. I feel like this conversation was it was different. I think last time I mean we both talked a lot, but I feel like you were more comfortable with just with this. At least that's what it seemed like.
It all depends on the day,
Yeah.
what happened before, what's going to happen after. Like, it's like that's a fun part about not really having an agenda, that
Yeah.
whatever is in that moment is what we are going to get.
Yeah. How you like it? How you like these?
I want to see the
I'm gonna
reels.
send it to you. I'm gonna send it
Send
to
it
you.
over.
Okay, cool. I'll send you this one too when we're done.
Yeah, and I can post
Oh,
it on.
and then I'm gonna send you. I need some pictures of you, some nice pictures. I was just gonna download
Oh,
them
you need
from
some
Facebook.
pictures. What type of pictures?
I mean, whatever nice picture you want me to put up of you when I post these.
Is it going to be on a website or
Right now it's gonna be on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, probably what's the other one? TikTok. But this year I'm gonna work on my website too. So I'm gonna start putting them on my website as well.
let me send you some stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna pause this for a second. I'm gonna stop it. Thank you. This is amazing.